ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Kreskin.
You are a great audience. I hope all of you out looking in tonight feel as enthusiastic as they do. You know, talking about enthusiasm, people often wonder, how do I prepare myself before a program? I don't use tranquilizers. I don't go on a trip. But I practice, I guess, my own form of meditation. In a 2.5-hour concert, I must be alone for 45 minutes to 1 hour before a program. And I walk endlessly. No cameraman, no floor technician would come even in the hallway and talk to me. Because if they did, I wouldn't even hear them. I'm kind of in another world. I have to tune my thoughts. The other problem, though, is my audience, the studio or a theater where you are, would have to be equally tuned. We'll find out in a little while just how well tuned we both are after the following commercial message. Folks, first of all, because I don't know any of you personally, and we certainly have had no communication on a professional basis, I wouldn't even know where a thought were located amongst you in the audience. And in a sense, this is part of the most meaningful part of my demonstration. I want you all to concentrate. And if I say something that rings a bell, stand immediately. You may not have been thinking about it. It may have been in the back of your mind, but in that semi-conscious level, it can come to the fore. I don't know what I'm getting. Of course, I jot my impressions down on this folio or pad. It's my way of keeping track of what's coming to me. Something like, what does April the 26th mean to you, sir?
Birthday.
Your birthday.
Not mine.
Was there, pardon me?
My wife's birthday.
What's her first name?
Marie.
Marie.
Yes.
I got Maria, but it was Marie. I've never met you, have I?
You haven't.
You were wondering, sir, if I could give you your license plate number. Am I correct?
Yes.
How many letters and how many numbers? So many parts of the world will sometimes get all numbers or most of them numbers. How many of each?
3 letters and 3 numbers.
3 letters, 3 numbers. I get the letter H?
Right.
Sir, are you thinking W?
No.
M?
No.
I cannot get the next letter. Y?
Right.
You know what confused me? I only got 2 letters, H and one other. Would there be 2 Y's?
Yes, it will.
That's what was bothering me. How many numbers?
3 numbers.
5?
Yes.
2?
Right.
Last at 8?
Right.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you, folks. There's someone here, I receive the impression, I get the initials DM. I believe the first name is Doug. Does this ring a bell in someone's mind? Just let me ask you, who is this person to you, a friend?
Me.
It is you, sir. We've never met before, have I? Have we? Have I? I certainly got my thoughts confused there. Why were you thinking about Newfoundland? Does it ring any bell to you? No, the girl is coaching you. She evidently does most of your thinking during certain parts of the program.
She was thinking.
What is your last name, Morrow?
Yeah.
Morrow is correct, Doug. Let me ask you, do the initials LG ring a bell, yes or no? Yes or no? Person with you, does it ring a bell? The girl who's talking, so would you stand, ma'am, please? Do you know anyone with the initials L? Is it LG or LF? Which did I say?
LG.
Is it a friend?
No, it's a movie star.
Pardon me?
A movie
Leaf.
star.
You're thinking of Leaf? I don't know the last name. It seems like G-A-R. Garrett?
Yeah.
Garrett is correct. Let me ask you, you have a date in mind. Is it a birth date, miss?
Yeah.
Whose birth date?
Mine.
Your own birthday. You won't mind if I try for the year, will you? You're born in the month of January?
Yeah.
January the 15th? 1966?
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much for standing. Thank you. Who is thinking 690? Does that ring a bell in someone's mind? Is it a phone number of some kind? Gal right there. Whose phone number, ma'am?
It's my best friend's.
Your best friend.
Yeah.
That person is not here with you, are they?
No.
What is it, 4 more digits?
Yes.
Since I only get 3 digits, does that mean the 2 of them are the same?
Yes.
It's a 9?
Yeah.
An 8?
Yeah.
That's where I get a blank. Another 9?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yes.
Last a 7?
Yes.
May I ask you this, please? Why are you thinking of Hawaii?
No, I'm not thinking of Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii rings no bell to you.
No.
Does November the 18th ring a bell to you?
November 8th. No, not 18th.
Is it someone else here thinking of that? No one else here in the audience. I thank the lady so much for standing. I really very much appreciate it. Thank her, folks. I get J.A. Does that ring a bell in someone's mind? First name John? Would you kindly stand if it rings a bell, please? Gentleman right there. Is it you, sir? Yes or no?
Yeah.
I've never met you before, have I? How many letters to your last name?
5.
5. A-R-C-H, is that close? Who's thinking Archibald? The name John Archibald. Does that ring a bell in someone's mind? Thank you for standing, ma'am. Would you stand, please? Who is John Archibald?
Oh, he's a favorite cousin.
A favorite cousin of... What would his initials be? J-A?
J.A.
J-A. I was kind of curious.
When you said J.A., that didn't
Oh,
mean
didn't ring a bell.
anything to me.
Does Hawaii have any significance to you?
Yes.
Why?
We were there a couple of years ago.
You were there a couple of years ago. Why were you thinking about Quebec?
We were, well, it was Quebec City, and we were there a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago.
One of my favorite cities.
Favorite cities. Does the month of September mean anything to you?
Yes, that's my birthday month.
You're born in 2 digits of the day?
Yes.
September the 28th?
Right.
September the 28th is correct. What does 403 mean to you?
Social insurance number.
Social insurance. Now, I'm not that familiar with them. How many more digits would that be?
6, a total of
Next
6.
to 3?
Yes.
A 2?
No.
No, it is not a 2. I cannot get the next digit. What is it, ma'am, after the 3?
It is 0.
A 0. Then another 3?
Yes.
How many more numbers?
3 more.
7? Then a 9?
Right.
Last an 8?
Right.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, folks, very, very much. Thank you. We will be back, folks, after the following commercial message. Well, our special guest has been with me 3 times before, and he said something in the last program when we had so many mishaps, but we pulled through. He says, Kreskin, you don't think it has anything to do with me, do you? And I said, it certainly does not, because this gentleman genders a great deal of joy. Will you welcome Charlie Farquarson?
Maybe I was going to get gelatined like in your French resolution.
Charlie, what in the world is this?
Well,
it looks to me like a musical instrument, but it also looks like something you got out of the Second World War.
No, we got that off the front of a 1958 Edsel.
Well, you know what happened to the Edsels.
Well, sure, that's what we... But you know what a lot of people that don't know what an Edsel is. That's a Ford car chasing a toilet seat. And my wife, she carved it and beveled it. And she played in a symphony orchestra. She was a harpist even before she married me.
A symphony orchestra?
She played classified music. But she don't do it no more. She threw up everything when she married me. So we just leaves it hangs in the cream shed, and we use it once in a while to strain the cheese.
You realize, I don't know if you folks remember, Charlie and I were talking about this about 4 years ago. We thought it would be great if Charlie drew something while I was off the set, and I was taken out of the studio. And he was going to draw a mark on the floor. Was it a small circle?
And you brung in a whole load of hay.
That was the thing. He had to think of where the circle was because I was going to be blindfolded. and they covered this whole place with hay. I was afraid there would be something else included.
I'm no good getting in the hay, I guess.
No, well, I don't know about that, Charlie. I haven't seen the size of the family, but at any rate... But at any rate, what finally happened is I came back in, and we went off the air with total failure because he couldn't see where the circle was on the floor. All the hay looked the same.
Well, I had to go to an optimist and get my eyes tested after that. It wasn't your fault.
Charlie, you mentioned your wife earlier, and is this true? Something I never think of Charlie Farquarson as having anything to deal with ESP. What's this about your wife and some predictions?
Well, she's physic. She has the extra sensuous deception, just like you have. I mean, I know you're...
Oh, I wish the gals I date would hear that. Did you call it extra sensuous perception?
Yeah, well, what they call the LSD or whatever. Yeah.
How does she...
She's not a press-a-digit potato like you are, but she goes witching for water. That's when she uses this thing.
Dowsing?
And when is that it? Oh, yeah. She has a bath every once a week. But she'll just go and, when she turns down, that's when you find it. Except she didn't find water, she found oil.
Well, you weren't upset, were you?
Well, yeah, because it's the place in the driving shed where my crankcase has been leaking for years.
Charlie, what is this? Speaking of the outdoors, do you have some interest in the weather? I'm afraid to ask him anything.
Well, I got interest in the weather.
Yeah.
My whole living depends on the weather. My God.
Well, you mean the farmers
People
all the
think food comes out of the supermarket, and it can, but it comes out of the ground. And if it don't come out of the ground, it's the weather is the fault. And the government in my country, Canada, 3 years ago, took me off the fat and heat and went on the Metrocal.
Metrocal.
The Celsius.
Yeah.
It was 30. It was a nice day in April. It was about 32 degrees above.
Right.
And the radio announcer came on and said it's 0.
Yes.
It wasn't. It was nice. But he kept saying it. It's 2 below 0. It's 4 below. By golly, but in the middle of April, we had a blizzard. And that's the power of suggestiveness. You see...
Do you feel, Charlie, that it's a conspiracy, this metric system?
Well, the government, you see, they can't control the wages or prices, so they have to measure everything in centipedes to keep up with the post office. Now, the Americans usually have more sense. They went on the Metrocal last year. They were up to their buffaloes in snow.
And you know what happened as a result of it? We had it in the metric system. No one could understand the speed limit, so it went back to the other.
Well, we're up here. We're measuring everything in kilometer meters. It says on the highway, it doesn't say 60 mph like it used to. It says 100 kmh. And the Americans copy, they say, 100 kmh, that's Canadian miles per hour. We're tearing all over our highways like the Indianapolis Speedway.
Would you say that, Charlie, that this is probably the best example of the brilliance of our political people?
Well, I don't know, but they're in trouble because now they're having earthquakes. They had one over the back of your turkey and down on the bottom of your chili. Well, I usually get a eruption after I have a bowl of that stuff, but there's going to be one in California. Yeah. It's your San Andreas' fault, but you can't blame everything on the Catholic Church.
All I can tell you, Charlie, is 2 days ago, I just got a beautiful, beautiful letter from Bishop Fulton J. Sheen. We'll be back, folks, after the following commercial message. Charlie, our Kreskin amazing person is a remarkable individual. I have come to know him, even though I met him literally 3 seconds ago, through a book I read from beginning to end this afternoon. It's called Bearwalk. And I want you all to welcome with me Mr. Tom Peltier. Tom, great. I read your book from beginning to end, and I think what I cannot forget, I didn't even make a note of it. It was on the first page, and it came on later in the book, is a remark that was a quote that I didn't recognize. It said, after I die, if you come to my grave, I'll show you a great thing, or something like that.
Yes.
Is that how it's?
Yes.
That's not a saying that goes back into any culture, does it, Tom?
No, this is what the medicine man, the shaman, said to me.
That's what a medicine man is called, a shaman.
A shaman, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's and he said this to me at one point. I worked with him for about 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, we were dealing with extrasensory perception and all forms.
You mean you worked with him as a student?
Yes, yes.
Are you part Indian?
Yes, I am. I'm an Ojibwe.
And where is that tribe located?
It's in northern Ontario.
Sure. That's where I come from.
But you are not obviously Indian.
I'm a WASP. I'm a white anti-sexual Protestant.
Tom, though, what did you learn from a shaman? Because is a shaman equal then to the medicine man?
Yes, yes.
Anything?
They're one and the same. They
Are there evil? Are there good and bad shamans? Because in the book, obviously, there was much evil at one point, but that was not blamed on the shaman in the book.
No. People have the ability, psychic, what we call a psychic entity, and they're able to create this out of the mind and zap someone out or whatever.
You said something in the book which fascinated me. You quoted, you had one of your people in the book, I don't know if it was Frank or Richard, quote Carl Jung when in a lot of psychology talks about the ego, the superego, the alter ego, and you said that there was another part which you call the shadow, and Jung called the collective consciousness. Do the Indians believe that there is this source of information existing all around? Is that what you meant by the shadow?
Yes. It's you might call it the soul. It's a part of the mind, and they understood this very much because they were. The native North American is a very psychic person. He developed that part of that mind so that he was able to become, the real magician by simple use of the mind. And he developed that to a great extent.
What is very briefly, without giving anything, what is the book about? Would you consider it? Because it is haunting.
Yeah.
It's kind of terrifying. Is it a mystery?
No, it's a curse. It actually took place.
Did this really happen?
Yes,
That's what I wanted to know.
Yes, it really happened.
Do you know the people it happened to?
Yes.
Without giving the story away, can you give us a little example of what happened to them?
Well, things are fine now. The story is based on my own personal life, and this is how I became involved with the medicine man.
Was a curse placed on you?
Yes.
On you?
Yes.
Why, Tom?
Usually it's out of jealousy or revenge of something of this nature. Usually this is what curses are all about. And someone placed this on me years and years ago, and it caused a tremendous, and I write the story in there. I fictionalize it, of course, but the story is based on an experience.
What does the Indian feel about death? Does he have a great fear of it?
No.
Why not?
Because of his total belief, and as I began to understand this, of reincarnation, that the soul continues to live and will reincarnate. And I have a child, in fact. He's 10 years old now, and when he was about, I'd say maybe about 5, he came to me one day.
We're getting vibrations there. That's why I'm going to ask you.
He came to me and he says, you're really not my real parents.
Your child,
Yes.
10 years old, said this to you.
Yes.
Can you imagine out there, folks, how you folks would react if someone said the same thing to you? What did he say?
He said, and I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, I've lived before. And I said, well, when? And who were you? He said, well, I was an Indian. And he said, I was shot through the neck. I was on a horse by a stream. About the same time, I talked to the medicine man completely separately. Mm-hmm. And I asked him, I said, what do you think about that little boy? And he said, well, certainly he's going to be a shaman. He's very, very, he's reincarnated. And he told me the same story separately.
You don't feel that it could be the power of suggestion that the child, in hearing of these beliefs in his household and because of the culture?
No.
How do you know
because,
how do you know it might not be some form of ESP, that he got this information that this happened to someone else, but it really wasn't he that went through it? Children have imaginary friends,
yes.
Especially, is he an only child?
No, I have 4 children.
I see. You do your own magic.
Yes.
How do you encourage him to believe in this area of reincarnation?
Yes, he started about 4 years old, and he saw what we have a name for them. They're called mice. Like they're little men and elves. Mm-hmm. And no one had told him the story. It was never brought up because I questioned it afterwards. But we were out hunting one day, partridge in the fall, and he said he was lagging way behind. And he came to me afterwards and he says, Dad, you should have seen what I've seen in the bush. Mm. And I said, what was that? And he was these little men, and he described them. And they were the leprechauns.
Well,
So, at 4 years
we
old,
know another part of the world that believes in them. I'm going to need a felt tip marking pencil, and I know someone on the crew might have one of those heavy, thick ones. How about the two of you joining me over for a little experiment? Come on over here.
I'm going to
Tom.
read that book.
I
thought it was
enjoyed
all
it.
about a nudist jog.
Bearwalk. Come over here, Tom. Sit over to my right here, if you will, and Charlie, sit right down here. I'm going to ask you a little while because I say this with a healthy skepticism, but we can't close our minds completely. Obviously, folks, this is simply an effect. And to show an attitude of purity, we're going to use white paper. We have a felt tip pen here, and I marked the book in one point to point out that I have finished it. I want to make sure that the pen does write. Are spells of any importance amongst the Indians? Do you use the term spells?
Yes.
Well, let me show you something here because I'm going to use, I've got 6 letters. The letter S, which will spell, indeed spells. This is why I'm looking at a monitor, which I cannot see, but that's kind of a new effect. We've got the S there. We have the P here, which I'm going to turn over and place face down, the P right over there. We will, of course, use an E.
That's
which
ESP.
So far it is that. We will use the L, and the L I'm going to kind of place over there. We will also use another L, S-P-E-L-L. The last, of course, will be the S. And let's place these as they are. Tom, we've not prearranged anything in any way, shape, or form. Am I correct? What I want you to do, there is a superstition. I consider it a superstition that you can remove warts by drawing X's on pieces of paper. Have you ever heard of this, Tom? It is not an Indian one, but it's actually very much deeply entrenched in the South. Now, some people have put X's on pieces of paper before they went to bed and woke up days later. Well, they've woken up each day and found that gradually a wart would disappear. But warts tend to come and go because they're based on a fungus. It might just be a natural happening. I want you, if you will, Tom, to make an X from one corner to there, straight X, and a straight X there. Would you do that for me, please? I'll hold the paper down. That's fine, and crisscross it thusly. Now, he has obviously, and it's very good, it's very, very clear on camera. He's made a very clear X. Would you kind of crumble that up, Charlie, please?
Crumble it up?
Just into a ball.
I know where you got this paper.
Where did I get the paper from? I'm afraid. Oh, my God. Now, hold that in your hand, Charlie, in one hand. Open your hand just so we can keep it in view. Just hold it at your fingertips. Tom, if you will, just give me any number from 1 to 6. Out loud, please, if you will. It's dealing with spells, of course.
Okay, 6.
You really want to choose the number 6?
Yes.
It's very interesting because in dealing with spells, I'm going to spell S-I-X. Would you place that there, please, if you will? Just place it there. Had, of course, the number 4 would have been F-O-U-R, what have you. I don't want to touch the card, so Charlie, would you move the card slightly forward? Just move it forward slightly. Tom, would you light one of the matches, please? Take a match. Now, let it burn, holding it so that it will glow, like that. We have the match, and we have the cards. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to blow out that match. Blow it out, please. Touch the paper, if you will. The paper. The card remains there. We've got here the S, the P, the E, the L, the L. If we can turn over the card you chose, where the S, the X disappeared, look. Right across the card. Thank you for coming. That's it. You see it sitting there. Thank you both gentlemen very, very much. I don't know where our time has gone. There's a lot more I wanted to ask him. If you want to know something that's fascinating, I mentioned that I use meditation before I go on the air. Meditation seems popular. You know the great thing about meditation? It makes respectable doing nothing. I'll see all of you next week. Be the good Lord willing.
gentlemen, the amazing Kreskin.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Gee, you are a great audience. I hope all of you out looking in tonight feel as enthusiastic as they do. You know, talk about enthusiasm. People often wonder, how do I prepare myself before a program? I don't use tranquilizers. I don't go on a trip. But I practice, I guess, my own form of meditation. In a 2.5-hour concert, I must be alone for 45 minutes to 1 hour before a program. And I walk endlessly. No cameraman, no floor technician would come even in the hallway and talk to me. Because if they did, I wouldn't even hear them. I'm kind of in another world. I have to tune my thoughts. The other problem, though, is my audience.